And we are officially live.
Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski and Jason Burmis of We Are Change.org here for another breaking news segment that Jason Burmis really wants to do. Now, if you've been watching our backup channel, you know that one of the most popular videos is a video about Conor McGregor. Me and Jason have been talking about this story for a very long time, and we've been reporting what this latest New York Times article has just reported right now with their headline, Irish Police Investigating Conor McGregor over sex assault accusations. Now, this is a major story for many reasons. I always was very kind of skeptical. I was always worried about lawsuits. I told Jason, be extremely careful. Jason even released a video, I believe, talking about an anonymous UFC fighter, so we won't get in trouble, so we won't get sued. But now the reporting that you were doing, Jason, seems absolutely correct. Everything you've pointed out to months ago seems to be confirmed now by the New York Times. What do you make of this? What do you have to say?
Well, let me tell you how upset I am that it took this long for it to come out and how doubtful I was that it ever would come out. If you look behind me or over to the side, you'll see we put out two videos on this. We did one dedicated on the 25th, literally 2 months and a day ago, guys. And then we had a discussion on the live show that we clipped out and then put to this channel. When he was arrested, I did one on my personal channel. But now think about this. It took 2 months, Luke, 2 full months for just one entity of our quote-unquote mainstream media to report a watered-down version of what I have reported. So what are the key?
Let's talk about what they reported first before we get into the stuff that you were talking about months ago, because we have here the New York Times saying, quote, Conor McGregor, the ultimate fighting champion, biggest star and one of the world's highest paid athletes, is under investigation in Ireland after a woman accused him of sexual assault in December, according to 4 people familiar with the investigation. So now 4 people have come out. McGregor has not been charged with a crime, and his lawyer is also saying very similar things. But this story is a lot more detailed and a lot more gruesome that you've been talking about from the early onset. So fill us in about what this New York Times story is missing, Jason.
It's missing a lot, but let's see what it gets right. But again, this is what it took 2 months after I reported on it to get to. And that's what's really important. So they're saying 4 parties. Well, let's get something straight. First of all, in Ireland, it is illegal for the press to report on you for such an assault unless you are convicted. This took place December 18th into the 19th, okay? This is not a case of he said, she said. I want to make that extremely clear. When they say 4 people familiar to the case, you'll have no idea. Conor McGregor himself did not go to police until mid-January, almost a month until after this assault happened. And that is when it was absolutely 100% confirmed that it was Conor McGregor. And any news agency worth their salt could have confirmed this, okay? Right here, they admit it. RTE leaked the public memo that it was McGregor who had been arrested. We showed you that memo in our first video. Later on, the press reported that RTE could face a fine for leaking the name of the Irish sports star that was involved in this brutal attack. And now we're going to get to how brutal that attack was. First of all, Luke, this woman was not just some random lady who was a fangirl. She was a 20-year-old woman who was a friend of the family. Allegedly, she is his baby mama's brother's best friend's girlfriend, who they have a long-term relationship and a child with. That means, undoubtedly, McGregor knew this young woman while she was a teenager. Allegedly, this took place in a hotel in front of Irish gangsters. And when McGregor attempted to kiss her, he then not only violently assaulted her sexually, but then, Luke, beat her, and when she was on her period, sodomized her. I'm getting pretty upset about this because according to the leaked text messages that anybody could see, she had to have a tampon surgically removed from her cervix. This man still faces no charges. He has faced no media scrutiny whatsoever in this country for this until today. I went to all my contacts. I'm going to blow some names up for you. You know who didn't want to cover this? Tomorrow's News Today didn't want to touch it, Luke. They didn't want to touch it with all the evidence. Gave it to them. Gave it to my contact.
You were messaging everyone. You continue like literally once a week. You're like, we got to talk about Conor. You got to talk about Conor. I'm like, we got to be careful here. I mean, even the New York Times. Look at the statement that they said here. We have to be careful because again, UFC is litigious. Big sports stars have a lot of money, have a lot of lawyers. The New York Times is even saying the allegations have not been proven, and the fact that an investigation is continuing does not imply that McGregor is guilty of a crime. A lawyer for McGregor in Dublin did not respond to messages seeking comment. So again, the New York Times even had to put that in because again, we have to be very careful here. Talk about the allegations. Some of the details are extremely graphic, but that does need to be said. That again. Allegations, we have to be careful here. Obviously, everyone today was talking about Conor McGregor retiring. He put out a tweet earlier today saying, hey guys, quick announcement. I've decided to retire from the sport formerly known as mixed martial arts today. I wish all my old colleagues well going forward in competition. I now join my former partner on this venture already in retirement. Proper pina coladas on me, fellas. So again, this is kind of weird message sent out by him coming out of nowhere. A lot of people are putting the two together, just like the New York Times did, saying that this could be related to this investigation against sexual assault, which again, you've been calling out for a while. Now the New York Times is announcing. I mean, earlier this morning, people were talking about him going to WrestleMania and all this other stuff. I think right now it's going to be a lot different with these details that you were talking about for a very long time. And now the New York Times reporting on. But what do you make? Again, you have to be careful here what we say. What do you make of the New York Times in their, what is it, third paragraph saying allegations? You have to be careful here.
No, they're definitely covering themselves, and that's why I've talked about alleged. Listen, from the get-go, I've just named the details of the case and said that I was sure that the person that they were talking about, this Irish sports star, not that he committed these crimes, Luke, but the crimes that they were talking about were absolutely him. And that's what made me so upset that nobody would touch us. AJ Benza, props to you, brother, because you were the only other guy talking about this. He tried to drop it on the Corolla podcast. Crickets. They went to their little ad break when he did that 2 months ago. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you were messaging all the UFC fighters that follow us. There's a couple of UFC fighters that follow us. They're like, hey, dude, you should check this out. And
props to John Fitch. Props to John Fitch. He talked about it. He talked about it openly. So props to him. He absolutely did. But again,
because you have to be careful when people have a lot of money, a lot of influence. They have a lot of lawyers, and as you've been watching this YouTube channel, you know that law and justice could be bought. And high, powerful lawyers could get you off, just like we saw with the Jesse Smollett case, where now we have the police, we have the mayor coming out being like, hey, he should really go to jail, but he's scot-free right now because of unbeknown reasons to everyone and confusion with everyone. So again, we have to be careful. The legal justice system can be bought off. That's just what I wanted to say here. What else do you want? What other points do you want to make here?
Well,
Jason?
I just want to show some people that are asking, well, where's the evidence? Where has this been? And all I can say is, guys, all you had to do was look. Okay, please look. The Irish Mirror did the most in-depth reporting on this out of any of the other.
Jason, before I cut you off, I think it's going to be important to highlight how you found out the story before anyone else. You were showing me video footages of Conor McGregor going into some strange building. Like, how did you find out about this story before anyone else did?
Well, me and my brother are pretty much just like, as soon as MMA came around, we've been watching it since we were kids. We're huge fans. It's what we do. I talk about it to you. I like to get my Saturdays, and I didn't plan on my brother even coming up this weekend, but his internet was down, so he came up. It's what we do. And he called me one morning, and he tells me this stuff, and I'm like, no way. How would I not know about this? And he goes, dude, they're hiding it. They're hiding it good. And I go, wait a minute. I was in the news wires quite a bit at the time because I've been working with We Are Change. And I'm like, I did see something about an Irish sports star and rape, but I would have thought it would have been bigger. And lo and behold, man, it is all over the European media. They're everywhere. Take a look, okay? Who is it? They were trying to give every hint they could. They were saying it wasn't a footballer. Huh. Well, if it's not a soccer player, do you know any world-famous Irish sports stars that play, I don't know, hockey? No. Football? No. And everybody, there were people defending him like you wouldn't believe. Burmess is a liar. He's making it up. He's jealous of McGregor. Guys, I want to make it clear. I never want to see this man, if he is guilty of the crimes he's been accused of, ever in the ring or a cage or in combat sports ever again. He does not deserve to make money ever again. He needs to be found guilty if he did this, given a fair trial. Again, it's really tough. Ireland, 8% conviction rate. Okay? And if that happens, spend the rest of his life in jail.
What's the conviction rate in Ireland?
8% with sexual assault accusations.
Like just one single digit, 8. Wow.
8%.
Holy cow.
Folks, again, if you want
to... I'm reading here the New York Times article. I just want to kind of key... I mean, that's a whole crazy statistic. Obviously, there's also... You have to entertain, two sides of the story here. There's also, fake allegations out there a lot of the times against famous people because people want to get rich. That's also a factor that does need to be entertained here just a little bit. But again, even the New York Times says the police investigating the attack retrieved evidence from the room McGregor stayed in and have also secured closed-circuit camera footage, according to a person with knowledge of the investigation. So it looks like they have footage, but what's the strongest evidence you have that you think is most reliable here in this entire case, Jason?
All right, well, let's get into it. So not only do they have the CCTV camera footage of everybody entering, so in other words, McGregor's posse, several women and others, they're going in, but they also have her footage of her coming out beaten. According to the allegations, she didn't even name him. She didn't name him until January, but somehow McGregor went to the police the next day with his attorney and said that it was consensual. They sent him on his way because no charges had been filed. It took weeks to get the victim to even name him. And as you're looking at, Luke, on the screen there it is, the Irish Times. Just 8% of reported rapes result in convictions in that country. Think about how twisted that is.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
There's also, a lot of people lying, but still that number is extremely low on that kind of circumstances. I mean, here the New York Times even says that there was an internal memo from the broadcaster RTE that leaked into the public domain after his arrest. And this is some of the documents that, of course, you put together as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's how we knew we were confirmed 100%. And I felt extremely confident of doing this story, Luke. Because
it said, this leaked memo, by the way, showed, it said, quote, not for publication, not for broadcast in capital letters, and was printed on January 18th. It explained that McGregor had presented himself at a police station at 5 p.m. a day earlier. On the morning the memo was printed, RTE News bulletins included the story of the man being questioned, but did not name him. RTE declined to comment. So obviously the leaked memo confirmed that it was Conor McGregor, according to this newspaper. Allegedly. Again, we have to be careful here. Sorry,
well, let's not listen. There's no doubt that the crimes we're discussing is alleged, but there is no doubt due to that memo and the fact that they were threatened with fine afterwards, and that was also reported in the media, that yes, Conor McGregor is the Irish sports star. Whether he did these things I'm talking about, I don't know. But he did show up to the police station. He was not charged. We need justice, Luke, and we're not going to get it unless all of the facts of this case come into the public eye. We have to stop being fanboys to celebrity. Look at the other tragedy that happened today where Jussie Smollett walks out without any felony charges after 16 charges are brought against him. We have to stop allowing the rich and wealthy, the elite, celebrities, sports stars, and people who have money manipulate the system. We have to hold them accountable. That's what we're doing here at We Are Change. And I promise you, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter how big the star is or the political figure. I'm gunning for you if you're doing disgusting, disturbing things like this.
Jason, again, good on you for reporting on this before anyone else. Again, I was very tempted. I was very worried about lawsuits, but ultimately what you were talking about has now looks like being very much confirmed by the New York Times. Do you want to end it? Do you want to say anything else, Jason?
Yeah, folks, look. We're an independent media organization. We need your support. We're putting out 4 videos a day. We're putting 3 on this backup a day, sometimes more. This is a live stream. Didn't expect to do it. Please subscribe, smash the thumbs up, hit that bell, ring that bell so you can get these notifications, share this information with others. But most importantly, folks, you got to get out there and you got to be the change you want to see in the world.